this is your first time joining us, please know that we have the next hour here. We're going to have a wonderful panel of 5 of our ICON agents here from EXP having a wonderful ICONversation. We are going to be taking questions or comments in the chat box, so please feel free to stick around and enjoy this conversation. I see you're all here. Can I just get you guys to open up your mics and say hi to me quick? We'll just make sure we're not having any sound issues.
Hey, good morning, Meg.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Meg.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Cedric. Hi, Donna. Hi, Betsy.
Hi. Good morning.
Wonderful. Okay, so my name is Meg Burgess. I'm here on behalf of the ICON team. We appreciate you sticking around after the amazing big agent meetings on Friday. So behind me, we have, like I said, 5 ICON agents. We have Cedric Gauthier from Ontario, Kevin Jeffries from Idaho, Donna Roberts from Washington, Betsy Nava-Flores from Texas, and our moderator for today's ICONversation is Dave Cadoon from Alberta. So I'm going to hand it over to Dave, and I'm around if you guys need any help at all.
All right, thanks, Meg.
You're welcome, Dave.
Well, good to see everyone here, and good to see a good crowd in the audience. Today, I wanted to get a chance for you all to get to know each of these 4 icons. They're going to share some stuff about them. And actually, let's start off with that, but I am going to ask a question to the audience after they do all their introductions. So, Cedric, let's start off with you. How long have you been a realtor? How long have you been with EXP?
Hi, Dave. Well, I've been a realtor for just over 10 years now. I'm starting my 11th year. I've been with EXP since November 2018. So a little while here. I was, I think, agent number 13,877 or something like that back in the day. So it's grown exponentially since. I have my team here in Ontario. I have my own little office that we opened and we operate as our team here. We made the top 50 in Canada last year, so that was very exciting and actually surprising. So things are going well, I guess. Thank you.
Awesome. How about yourself, Kevin? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, good morning or good evening, depending on what country you might be in. So myself, I'm up here in Idaho. I've been coming up in October. I will have been a realtor for 3 years. So prior to this, I was a drilling engineer for Chevron, did that for 14 years, decided to do a little shift instead of rotating back and forth. 2 destinations, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, want to be closer to the kids. So that's where I decided to do a shift and become a realtor. Never been with any other brokerage, always been with EXP for just a little over 2.5 years. First year was an ICON, just basically had high standards and lofty goals to maintain. My salary at Chevron, which was $250,000 a year, and so that was my ICON my first year, and an ICON. So kind of the background of my story.
Excellent. It's good to see people have transitioned from oil and gas, especially during the downturn back in the years, to real estate. And you're not the first I've heard. It's good to hear that you've been successful. How about yourself, Donna? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Donna Roberts here. I have been in real estate a little over 18 years. This is my 3rd brokerage, so I've been with EXP about 2.5 years now. We are in the Southwest Washington, Portland, Oregon area, so we are dual licensed. And I have a team now for the past 6 years. So we were recently, Real Trends gave us the number 7 in Washington State spot. So that was kind of exciting. And so we've been with EXP about 2.5 years. We love it. We also have our own, I bought a building. So our team, we actually have a physical place as well.
And that can be exponential in regards to the business. I'm actually going to touch on that here in a little bit later in our conversations. Betsy, let's learn about you.
Hey guys, I'm Betsy Nava-Flores,
and I am in San Antonio, Texas. So welcome those that are coming to the Build Conference next month. I'm excited to meet a lot of new people. I've been with the EXP just shy of 2 years. I am a real estate broker here in Texas, and I have been licensed for 23 years and been a broker for about 18 of those years. And so I had a small boutique brokerage for many, many years, running my own business. I sponsored just a small amount of agents, but I have a technology background. My degree is in IT, and I just said, there is just no way for my small little boutique brokerage to leverage as many tools on my own like EXP has. And so it was just a really welcoming feeling coming over and just experiencing all the mindset coaching, the masterminds, the people that have been just sweet to embrace me, because I've always been kind of a little lone wolf here in Texas, but I have made so many friends across EXP. So I am a mom of two. I have a college sophomore, and I have an incoming 7th grader who thinks he's 25, and that keeps me busy for most of my time. But I do run a team. I have a team of about 10 agents, and supporting them and helping them. And then, of course, I'm still in production because I love what I do. And so, yeah, that's me. That's Betsy.
Oh, thanks. And it's so good to hear that so many people have grown to have teams. A little bit about myself. I've been a realtor for a little over 8 years, going on 8.5. Went through a couple of different brokerages, and spent bulk of it over at Remax before I made the jump to EXP almost 1.5 years ago. Icon my first year, and I'm about 6 weeks away from iconing for the second time. So it's definitely one thing I love about this, and like Betsy mentioned, you get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet people with your like mindset, and that's something that's been huge in regards to building my business. I'm part of a domestic team, so my wife is an agent as well. She does most of the back end stuff with the business, and I'm heavily into production and always actively searching to add to my team. But I'm in a very small market, city of 35,000 people. What I wanted to touch base with you all today is I always focus on, the newer agents and what can they do to increase. I'm sure you all can relate, and you see agents out there that are thinking that it's an easy ride to go from the bottom to the top with as little work as possible. But that's definitely not where it is. We do have to put work into this business. And I'm going to start off with the first question. What is the one thing that you would recommend for an agent with 2 years or less experience to help propel them to success? And by success, let's talk getting up to 20 deals per year. Kevin, we'll put you on the hot seat.
Sure. So I appreciate that that question. So basically, how to scale up as a new agent if you're brand new. And my success, I have multiple ideas, but I only get one. So my success was primarily pairing up or partnering up with another Icon agent. And basically, it's, to a certain extent, this game is a pay to play game. And that's how I focus my business. How I was successful in my very first year was I paired up with Colin Kelly, which is up here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And essentially he was giving me leads. Now I was paying 50% on every single one of these leads, but guess what? I don't have that huge sphere here. You can only call your relatives, your friends, and everything so much, but and that's what they say is, focus on your sphere. But there is new people coming in from out of the area all the time, and so that was my thing that propelled me, was pairing up with someone, getting that mentorship, and ultimately sharing every single one of my leads at 50%.
And that's a good thing to type on. Is regards to, yes, you do have to pay a little bit to get in the game to get started, but building that sphere of influence is tough, and it takes years. You're right. I'm trying to help younger agents that have trouble getting leads, and I've had agents say, "Well, I'm not going to pay you for any leads." I'm like, "Hey, well then that's fine, and we'll just continue on my own." And there's other people that will want them because I want to have that production. Donna, what about you? What would be the single most thing that you would find most important for an agent to start up in their first 2 years?
Well, first of all, I agree with the others. In essence, I've had a coach since day one of starting business. So whether that's a mentor or coach, I think that's pretty critical. But I think a lot of people don't treat this like a business. And like you said, it's not, maybe they're watching Selling Sunset or whatever, and they think it's glamorous and fun, but I live by my calendar. I mean, I'm sitting here at a computer in my own house, but I'm fully dressed. I could go on a listing appointment right now if I needed to be. So I live by my calendar so that I know that my morning is prospecting. After my morning, then I'm doing paperwork, returning calls, doing follow-up. I know my afternoon is appointments. So it's basically like blocking your calendar and living by your calendar. And some people just don't realize that they piddle away half the day doing things that they think are money generating activities, but that's not the case. So I would say the biggest thing is to live by your schedule, your calendar, and to treat it like a job. You wouldn't cruise in at your job if you were on a salary at 10:30, stand around by the water cooler, visit with the people in the office, and then expect the phone to ring. That's just, it doesn't work that way. So that's probably what I would say.
And very good point on the calendar. I live by the calendar. I started that about 3 years ago. Really got heavy into it when I joined it to EXP. An example, last night I had a client tell me, he said, "I'd like to go look at a house." He goes, "When can you show it to me?" I said, "I can show it to you on Tuesday at 4:00. And he's like, "Well, can they see it sooner?" I said, "My calendar is literally booked." I said, "You need to get in ahead of time, whether it's be calendar, whether it's work or family time or recreational time. I have to live by that calendar." So very, very good point, Donna. Betsy, well, how about you? What's the one key thing for them?
Number one, I would agree with Donna and Kevin that this is definitely leveraging. Every new agent needs to have some form of mentor. I mean, I've been in the business 23 years, and I have seen just about every cycle so far, from when interest rates were like 10, 12% to right now, where we're kind of back in the middle. And I tell agents, people aren't just going to call you. They don't know you're an agent. They don't know anything about you. They don't know what you know. You need to learn. You need to know your contract. You need to know how to open up a Supra lockbox. There's so many things that you need to learn that is the infrastructure of your business. I said, because you can get all the leads you want, but if you have no follow-up, you have no systems in place to do the work for you, then you're going to miss the boat. So I mentor, I have several new agents, and most of my agents are less than 2 years old in the business. And what's your follow-up? If you get a lead from a landing page that you run, where's your follow-up to that? How are you going to know when was the last time you talked to them? Because follow-up is key. Everybody's clicking a button to get a lead, but there's nobody calling them back. So build your systems while you're sitting waiting for a client to your first 45, 60 days, if you have a client on day one, right? Build your systems, get your email flows going. Don't use Betsy's 52-year-old speech. Use your speech, the way you speak, your tone, everything is conducive to what you're attracting, because we all will attract somebody, but you have to let people know who you are, what you know, what value you are to them, how you can help them, and don't be a secret agent. You'll never know who you're influencing as you're doing your daily work. Prime example, I have an agent that's like, well, I want to do luxury, and I want to do bilingual, and I want to do he wants to do all the things. And I said, you can't do all these things because you have no infrastructure in place. Who cares if you get 25 leads and you have no follow-up system? So pick what you know you're good at and let's drill deep into that, build a funnel, whatever you have to do to get that system in place because your follow-up is so important. It's really easy to get distracted in the business. So just pick one thing that works for you and do it until you master it before you go to the next shiny object.
Very well said. And follow up, that's key. Follow up, follow through, follow back. That's what I was taught a couple of years ago, and I still have not mastered it. I still have people that slip through the cracks because when you get busy, follow up can be difficult. So yes, have your systems in place. Cedric, now that you've heard the first three, go ahead. Hopefully that didn't take any ideas out of you, but what would you give for one key piece of advice?
Well, they're all good stuff when you start with. I'll go with the two things. Basically, the first thing is you have to treat this, assuming you're a full-time realtor, you have to treat this as a full-time job. So just piggybacking a bit on the other what the other said, but basically, if you don't have clients right now, you have two things you can do. Either you're prospecting to get more clients, or you're increasing your skills so that you're able to go and be better at getting clients. Because if you don't have clients, be the best realtor in the world, you're not making money. You need to go get clients. So basically, if you have nothing to do right now, you just work on these two things all the time. You can't sit, it has to be a full-time job. You have to treat it this way. But for the one thing that I did that really helped is because I was on a team for 5 years before I went on my own. And then when I left that team, I had a bit of a database, I have to admit. So I had a good start because I was doing this for 5 years. But my deals at the time that were coming from the sphere were very small because I was relying heavily on that team. They were giving me leads, so there's no point in going, I guess, after my sphere that much. But as soon as I left, I was working with a Buffini coach, and basically he told me, is pick up your favorite 30 people in your database or friends or family, and only put these 30 people. It's not like they're the most fun clients to work with. It's not the most person you like the most, but it's the people that are the most likely to refer you. That's the only criteria you're looking at. And then these 30 people, make sure you're constantly sending them stuff or talking to them or texting them. So basically, these people that are most likely to refer you, use them as much as possible. That's where your effort comes from. Because this way, you're going to build a long-term business, not just a transactional approach. And there's nothing better. And every realtor sitting in front of on that stage here, I'm sure they're going to tell you that not all leads are created equal. An online lead is not the same as a referral, right? So this method for me worked very well because I started working with referrals almost exclusively. I do 0 online leads. Other than people that call on my listings, but there's no advertising at all that we do other than focus on our database. And there's nothing better than just doing your thing and then getting a call from somebody saying, hey, I saw this house, I want to put an offer on it. Hey, I need to sell my house. Can you come put your sign in front? It's that easy. There's no commission negotiation. It's a fun transaction. You don't even feel like you're working. So basically, the long-term approach for me is just working with referrals, and that's how I would start my career if I have to start over again, 100%.
Excellent. Very, very good points there, Cedric. And Kevin, even what you popped in the chat there, how referrals not the same as non-like lead referrals. They know you're a closer. That's right. They're going to you because they know you have your business. We have a question. I think Florence keeps putting her hand up in the audience. Florence, did you want to ask a question? Hey there, Florence. Just click on the mic and go ahead and ask. Okay, no problem. And if anything, throw it in the chat, and we will address it. Next thing I wanted to ask all of you. This is something that I learned a couple of years ago through one of my mentors and one of my trainers. They said to market yourself. People need to understand that you are real estate, but you should be marketing yourself real estate and. And what is your and? And that's one thing I took to heart. I figured out what is my and, what am I really relating to with people. I'm located in Alberta, Canada. We're very prominent with hockey up here for many months of the year. Typically, actually 12 months of the year, there's always something going on. So I'm at the hockey rink with my daughter. I'm also a hockey official, so I live at the rink. I'm actually going to be there tonight doing some stuff. So that's how I market myself. I'm Dave Cadoon, the realtor and active in the hockey community. For you four, this might be something to spawn on you, and maybe you're not quite prepared, but just kind of think about it for a minute. What would you market yourself as and? What do people know about you other than just being a realtor? What is your and? Donna, we'll get started with you.
Okay. That's interesting. So I would say realtor, and I don't want to say survivor, but being somebody that has had adversity thrown at me and being able to rise above and I guess teach. I worked in the school district teaching English as a second language right after my divorce, and moved forward with that and found that I really enjoyed teaching. And so I think that has worked well as far as being a source of information for people. So whether it's a client or new agents, I think that's what I've been known for.
Excellent. And yeah, having to answer that question first off, I know it kind of puts you on the spot, but well done. Betsy, how about yourself? What's your and?
I love food and travel. So I do a lot of reviews for restaurants and for travel places where I go, for hotels. I market myself as like a local community expert. So if I go to a restaurant, I'll try to write up a really nice review. Obviously, I'm not going to give them a negative review, but give them a good review. I also use some other means of just becoming a local expert where I'm at, because San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the country, and it's a pretty large city. So where I'm at specifically, I like to share like the upcoming places, the new mom and pop shops, support small business, doing those kind of things. And so I post it on my personal page. I'll share it on my business page, and I'll even do a community video for that particular business. Like I do 12 days of Christmas. So I pick 12 shops in the area, small family owned or small business, and I'll do like feature their items, feature any specials that they're doing. And so that for me, people appreciate that, because this is Military City, USA. So we have a lot of people that come in here from, Air Force, Army, and they don't, not necessarily know all the places, but it's good to kind of see a new, fresh perspective from a local expert. And so Google does have a local expert site that you can post your pictures onto a review, and then you can even watermark your pictures, and so it's just recognition. So I love food and travel. That's my thing.
Excellent. Perfect. Cedric, how about you? What is your and?
For us, I guess I say us because it's team works very hard on we're the real estate hub. We're not Cedric Goatee team or group or whatever. And basically our thing is just community events. Like that's what we do. Like I'd say the real estate hub and, realtors and we're in a very small community. We're maybe half an hour from Ottawa, which is 1 million population, but we're just our community here. We're about 3,000 to 3,500 people. So basically, we're the only physical office town, and we make sure that we take advantage of it. And we do a lot of things at our offices. Like we have an open house at our office, a haunted house every year at our office. We have like 300 kids that just show up for the haunted house. We do egg hunts around the office for Easter, and every single community event that is there, we are present. We have dunk tanks, like Dunk Your Realtor. People give us money and we give it back to charity. And it's like we're heavily involved in the community. And a lot of what we do is farming in that community. So basically, it's the only money that we spend is farming our little town of Limoges. Other than that, it's just on our database. So community things are very big, and people, again, with community, when it's within the community, they want to encourage you, like they want to support you. So it's like a referral. When they come in, they like you before you even start, and that's a hell of an advantage instead of competing with 7 people.
Excellent, thank you. Kevin, how about you? What is your ad?
This is a great. This is a good. I mean, like you said, this is just kind of like off the cuff, and most definitely made me think about, because the way I see this question is, how do you brand yourself? How do you associate with something and that you consistently do within your community? Because ultimately, whenever you meet up with somebody, you need to be memorable, and it's usually how do you make them feel when you show up? So how are you branding yourself is the way I see this question. And I just recently, and me being pretty new in the industry, 2.5 years, I'm still trying to figure that out, but I think I just figured that out just here in the last 2 months. And how I'm branding myself as the celebrity realtor. And how I'm doing that is I'm leveraging American Dream TV. So I'm a TV host for American Dream TV. This is something that is nationwide, is a media company, and it's something that's aired on like CBS, Fox, CNN, a lot of the broadcasting just on regular cable TV, plus Roku, Apple TV and stuff. And so that's one thing that I've been blasting on social media is I am a host for American Dream TV. And a lot of people, it's kind of funny because a lot of people are coming up. It's like, oh, can I get your autograph? Can I, being that you're a celebrity now and everything? And so I feel like kind of going back to what you're saying is, what's your niche? What do you love to do? What's your passion? And how can you brand yourself compared to others? Because if I just went up like, hey, my name's Kevin Jeffries, I'm just another realtor at that point. But if you brand yourself as like, then it's going to be memorable, and they're going to think about you the next time they're doing real estate. And so this is a great question. And if there's anybody in the audience or anybody on the panel or anything, I can refer you and it could be something that you guys could potentially do on American Dream TV. If you guys are interested, feel free to put it in the chat box if you're interested in pairing up with a media production company like American Dream TV.
And Kevin, you put it straight out there. I kind of beat around the bush without sending it right out there about branding yourself. Going a throwback, I was in a course a couple of years ago, 3.5 years ago, and they basically were teaching me how to brand myself, and I had no idea what that was like. I was with Remax. Remax was all about the brokerage, all that stuff. You could not brand yourself, but I learned how to get around that. Started to brand myself had a bit of a logo, made it work. And it was just in case I ever decided to switch brokerages, how would I be able to continue to carry on my business? And when the opportunity came with EXP, I moved everything. My logo came over, some colors changed in it, but it was just myself. And then it took off. And that's when the and came through. And you're right, people need to, and this is one thing we use the word preach. I preach it to people that people need to, or the public, when they're dealing with you, need to understand who you are. They need to like you. And one thing I really like to throw to people is this phrase: people hate being sold, but they love shopping with their friends. So if they've got that relationship with you, whether they're watching on social media, whether they're seeing what you're like in the real life, when you're not just, and I'm using air quotes here, the realtor, when they know what you're like in regards to what you do in the community, what you do to have fun, what ends up happening in your day-to-day life, they're going to understand you much better. So when you go to a listing appointment, they know who you are already. you've already got the leg up. You're still learning about them, but they already have an idea of who you are. They're more comfortable with you. Things are going to go a lot smoother. Transitioning away from that, I wanted to actually ask all of you this question. We all have bumps in the road in our business. Or maybe there's some people in the audience as well. I have them. Last month, I had about a 3-week lull where things just weren't clicking. What do each of you do when you hit a kind of a dead spot in your business, when you need to kind of pick things up, when stuff isn't working? What do you do to make that change? And what have you found in successes in the past? Betsy, we'll start with you on this one.
Good question. Yeah, you can get in your own way in your own head and convince yourself about a lot of negative things because that's real easy for us to do. But I think for me, I do have a really good support system. I have a great sponsor in EXP. I have a great mentor in EXP. I have my coach who has been phenomenal. She's, very inspiring. We do coaching calls with her twice a week. And then one of the things that I do is I have to push myself to do an accountability call with others because you will only succeed as far as you are held accountable. You're a business owner, and who else is going to hold you accountable if it's not someone who really cares about your success, right? And it gets hard because I'm in my business. No one above me is going to hold me accountable. I either have to make the money or I got to move on, right? So having someone hold me accountable, and then having those support systems, or where you're like struggling to get out of a certain mindset, or you're maybe listening to too much negative talk, remove yourself from that situation and seek the ones that you know are going to uplift you. So accountability is huge for me. I have, as a team, I have a one-on-one with each one of my team members that needs that. And then I have some that are like, I need it 5 days a week. And so we're on a 5-day-a-week call in the morning, 8:00, and talk about, hey, what's going on? How did that go? What do you need? Have you heard this? Share something with each other. Because really this is a collaborative game. This is no longer, hey, fend for yourself. There's no way you're going to survive in real estate if you're walking around by yourself, because it's real easy to get down. So yeah, find your tribe and tap in. Don't be afraid to reach out.
That's exactly it. No matter what level we are in this business, we always need to lean on somebody, whether they're above us, below us, it doesn't really matter. They're there to keep us going, and an accountability coach, whether they're an actual coach or just someone to give you that little kick that you need, is something you definitely need to go with. Cedric, how about yourself?
Yes, I have to say I really love this question, especially in the business that we're in, because you have to understand that this business has tons of up and downs, right? It feels like I'm sure Dave, it's the same thing for you, but up here in Canada, winters are slower for us in terms of sales. So nobody wants to move in a snowstorm. So it's the same thing every year. We get into January, like, hey, what the hell? I'm so not busy. What do I do? But you have to realize the nature of the business. It happens during that time. In 3 months, I'm going to want to pull my hair out, right? But so just realizing it is big for me. I'm not going to go into accountability because Betsy covered it very well, but accountability partners, I've had that for years and it really does work. But for me, what I also do is go back to basics. When I feel I'm just in a rut and I don't work as hard, I don't feel like it, well, I have a list of all my routines, exactly what it is to the minute. Like when I first get up in the morning, before I go to bed, when I start my day at work, and then when I end my day at work. I have all these 4 written down, like getting up and make coffee, for example. It's all there. So it feels like just going back to basic, reading them, maybe adjusting them a little bit, just to put me back on, yes, this is what I do. Yes, I am good at this, and I've done it numerous times before. And then just getting on with your day becomes automatic. And I just find it a lot easier to back into it. And then if it's really not going well, I just figure out like top 10 things that are super easy to do. And I just go ahead with it and start these and then get into a rhythm and just get on with your day.
Excellent. Thank you. Kevin, how about yourself?
So, yeah, so accountability coach, what do you do during the wintertime? Just to kind of tie into that on the wintertime, I mean, this kind of goes back to it allows you time to brand yourself again. And really, it's all about that social media and follow up and not being that secret agent. I know I'm following up on a lot of stuff that we already talked about, but that's okay. It's all about lead generation. You don't know who's actually watching on social media, so always being consistent there. I guess this is kind of leading to my answer, really. So when you got a bump in the road, first what I wanted to. What's interesting is, like, it's not a matter of you're going to fail in this business. It's just a matter of how quickly you pick yourself back up and then keep moving forward. It's just a learning opportunity is all it is, and what you're going to be doing to fix that so you don't fall down the same way you just did. You always got to learn from your mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and you just can't be afraid to fail. I feel like that's why a lot of people fail in this business, is because they're scared to fail. They don't know everything, but that's okay. You fake it till you make it, and you just do your best and keep moving forward. And kind of going back to that accountability coach of having a good mentor of, if you are in a sticky situation and you're like, you don't know exactly what to do, go back to your mentor and ask them. And if you're not getting the right support, guess what? We have a whole community called EXP, almost 90,000 large. You can call up any icon. You can call me up. I mean, write down my number. I love coaching. So it's like, I only been in the business for 2.5 years. I can only give you so much, but at the end of the day, it's like having that support, that network, and giving you ideas, just like what Cedric said. It's slow, and so go back to the basics. Just fold your bed, have a coffee, make your bed, and ultimately, yes, I did something. I completed a task today. Now let's keep completing more tasks throughout the day. So at the end of the day, it's like, I would say, to answer this question, I know I'm all over the place, but that's okay. Is saying having that good mentor to fall back on to help you out with your business. Don't try and do this on your own. Educate yourself with somebody who's been in the business longer or have potentially had the education a little bit more so than you, to help you get through these bumpy times, because they have done it multiple times. A lot of people on this panel have been doing this for 10 plus years. They've been going through the roller coaster. So reach out to those folks to help you through your business so you don't have a failing business.
Yeah, and you made the phrase of to fake it till you make it works, for short periods of time, but then pick yourself up and taking a little bit of what everyone here has said so far. Donna, that leaves you. What do you do when you're in a slump? Hopefully you're never in a slump, but the odd time, if there is that time chance.
I think everybody has times where they feel that their business could be flat, and I think for me the big thing is, I've been in this industry long enough now that one of our core values is evolving, and I think you have to know how to evolve and pivot. And if something is not working, you need to be able to plug in and figure out what you need to do for the next stage. So, like, I'm getting some feedback here. I'm in a mastermind at least 3 times a week. I have 2 EXP mastermind calls. I have 1 coaching call. I'm Tom Ferry coached with teams. Those are the 3 non-negotiable calls that I'm on each week. And then there's probably 5 other different types of group collaboration calls I could be on during the week if I wanted to. So it's really about being able to pivot and grow in your business and figure out. Obviously, we were in market where there were short sales, and then we had markets where, people were getting out of the industry and homes were sitting on the market. And then we had just the last couple of years with COVID, everything that happened with, people were afraid about selling homes. And then all of a sudden we got this crazy time going on the last couple of years. So you have to lean in on other people and have a path so that you can adjust your business every year. I tell my team when they re-sign contracts every year, and I say, know that when you're on board with us, what we're doing this year may not be what we're doing next year, because I look at how far the business has changed and evolved in 18 years here. And if I would have stayed where I was, I would not be here. So I think it's really critical that when you have a flat time, that you have some self-reflection analysis, and that you mentor with someone on maybe some other things that you can be doing to get out there, because there's tons of business out there. There really is.
And very well said. With the masterminds or the group meetings, I have 3 of them as well every week that I attend. With my sponsor, with the group that I'm with, and then also outside of basically the sphere. And that it goes a long way. You definitely get some new ideas on how you can change your business or grow. Let's have a little bit of fun with this next one. Think about a crazy real estate story you would want to share with the audience. And I'll start off just so you can kind of think about what you want to do. We see memes through social media or around where, the phrase, you can't make this up. And sometimes you find in real estate that something gets thrown on you. And, for any of the newer agents out there, don't get shocked. Sometimes things happen. You're like, how could this ever happen to me? It just does. And there's some things that we can't control. So here's something that happened to me here just within the past couple of months that I'll share, and it's clean. I had a client, or I had an online inquiry on a property I had listed, and the buyer reached out online. Yeah, we're interested in this property in a small town in the province of Saskatchewan. And I said to them, well, okay, let's get some more information, because I'm a little bit sketchy on online leads right off the bat. I literally spent a week and a half basically quizzing these people, getting information out of them to make sure that this was a legit person. I also followed up with some phone calls, ID checks, all that stuff, of course, to protect ourselves. In the end, this person is going to move 2 provinces. So for you Americans, that's like 2 states over. And they're like, okay, they gave an offer, cash offer on a property, sight unseen. And I said, you need to do an inspection on this property. Even though I have it listed, like, it should get inspected. She goes, oh, no, the photos look good. I'm happy with it. I said, well, no, I really suggest you get an inspection on this property. I said, it's got good solid bones, but it definitely needs some cosmetic work. And I said, have you ever been to this town before? She goes, no, but I'm trying to reduce cost of living, and it looks like a nice place. So, well, you should probably come out and see the town. No, I'm good. Covered all my due diligence. She makes an offer. It's accepted. June 1st, she gets possession. June 2nd, I go check out the property, because she's not going to be here till June 4th. I check out the property. There was a tenant in there, left the place a mess, left the doors unlocked. The place is a disaster. So I tell the buyer, I said, listen, this isn't great. Like, things are bad. She goes, oh, that's okay. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Okay. I said, let me know when you get here. On the 4th, at about 11 o'clock at night, I get an email from this buyer. And I'm like, I'm not opening this. I already know what's going down this route. Next morning, I wake up, I open up the email, and she goes, I'm disgusted with what this place is like. I've had it. She goes, I don't like this town. Granted, she'd only been there an evening. We're heading back. Put this property back on the market. 2 days later, I got the property back on the market. It's things like that where we kind of start to realize, can't make this stuff up. How could this have come to us? So, Cedric, I'm going to put you on the spot first. Hope you had some time to think about a crazy real estate story. What could you share with the audience that you've had to deal with that you just did not see coming?
Well, I was a bit busy listening to your crazy story to think of one, but I'm gonna go to two quick things. In terms of sometimes you see memes. I visited one house. It wasn't my listing, but I was with a client, and there was a toilet on the second level that was facing a window looking into the neighbor's backyard, and the window was so low that if you're sitting on it, you can literally see everything in there. Like, this is the most weird thing I've seen in the house and made no sense. And I'm sure the neighbors knew, like, if you see this person sitting there for hours, I mean, it's crazy. But in terms of a house, that's the funniest thing I've seen. But I want to share something that happened to me last month. And it was a lesson for me, because when you've done this for this long and you've sold many homes, sometimes, even though I don't work the transactional way, it can start by becoming it. And I sold a home from this gentleman. He was almost 90 years old. It was like 2 months away from celebrating his 90th birthday. And basically, he didn't have an email. We couldn't do e-signatures, which is fine. I sold his house. And when it was that he was at like in an old home, this a nursing home, could barely walk. I get there to sign the paperwork with him when his house was sold. We got the offer, and I get there, and he's dressed in a suit. For him, it was very important. Like, it's a big day for him. He lived in the house for over 50 years. For him, it was a big event to sell his house. For him, the real estate world is people well dressed. That's how he sees things. So just the fact that he dressed up for me just to sign the documents, it just, for me, was crazy. I had never seen this, people dressing up for me. But it reminded me also that sometimes we don't think things are a big deal for our clients, but they are. So yeah, that was a lesson for me at the same time.
Thanks for actually sharing both those. The first one, I could just picture what that would look like. Kevin, how about yourself? Crazy story.
All right, so this was an online lead, and these folks, they were coming from out of town, and they wanted to come up here to Coeur d'Alene. And they said that they just got done selling their like 4,000 acre ranch down there in Texas, and they wanted to downsize and then come up here, and just have like a smaller ranch, like 80 to 100 acres. Well, 300 acres up here goes for $6 million. And so he wants to go and take a look at this house. That's about $3 million. He wants to look at some dirt for like $3 to $6 million as well. He's asking me, he's like, so Kev, can you do a little bit of research on this and check to see if there is a natural spring going through it? Because that's what's perfect. We can dam it up a little bit for the cattle and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do some due diligence on this. And he's asking some good questions that would be pertinent to raising cattle up here. So I'm like, okay, sounds good. So I do my due diligence, get back to him and everything. And then he's like, all right. I said, okay, well, when do you want to come up? He's like, I'm thinking about this upcoming weekend. I said, okay. So I set up the showings and everything, and he's like, so Kev, we're gonna drive up there. In which I was like, that's interesting. This guy just sold, what you're gonna be driving. Okay. So I thought that was interesting. So I was like, whatever, some people, they are pretty frugal, and maybe the road trip from Texas up here is going to be a fun one, what have you. But they only have like 3 days to get up here, so they need to get on the road. And so then he starts asking me questions as in hotel reservations and stuff like that. So he's like, yeah, Kev, so is there places that you recommend? And a lot of these higher end clients, they are high maintenance and they're used to being spoon fed. So I'm used to this because I've worked with some. And they're like, yeah, could you help me find, some of the best restaurants to go eat? And then same thing with hotels and everything. I was like, okay, no problem. And then the next question came up is he's like, hey, can you book our hotel for us? And I'm like, on the fence. I'm like, well, this guy, if I close on one of these deals, like, I'm going to be making $200,000-$300,000 between the two. He's looking at like $10 million worth of real estate up here. Do I go out on a limb and do this and book a hotel for 3 days or not? And I decided that I said, okay, so here's the deal. I'm not going to book a hotel for you, but guess what? You go ahead and pick out whatever hotel. And once we close on one of these properties, then I'll reimburse you for that those hotels. And a long story short, this thing was a scam. He was basically wanting to come up here, get a hotel, look at a few properties. I saw this as basically like a timeshare thing. I'll spend 2 to 3 hours looking at high-end real estate that is way above our budget, and I get free lodging in a destination location. And long story short, they did not show up. They basically is like, I can't believe you treated us like this. Like we're a high-end client and we expect, this type of service. And yeah, it was just a scam at the end of the day. So watch out for those scams out there, guys. Like, because there's a few of them that are going around. So that's kind of my crazy story. And fortunately, I didn't pay, $1,500 on this scam because that could have easily happened.
Yeah, and online scams, there's one going around in my area right now as well. You definitely have to be careful of them. Donna, what about yourself? What crazy story do you have? I know you probably should have a few with your years in the business.
One of the funny stories is back when I was out showing these clients some property. It was a doctor from out of the country and his wife and their children, and they were kind of a handful, the kids. And so we were picking these homes, and there was this crazy house that had been on the market and hadn't really sold. And the pictures were very different on it too. It was a different style. It was kind of a custom home on half acre, and they kind of had the land, but there were subdivisions around them. And I couldn't figure out why this house hadn't sold though, because other than it was cosmetic things in there. So we go in, and we were told that the sellers were going to be in the house, that they needed to be there. Of course, that's always joyful. And so we go into the home, and they let us, they start to tell us about their house, and we're standing there, and we saw some animal enclosures outside on the side yard, like you'd almost see like at the zoo, the monkey, an animal enclosure deal. And so we're in the house, and we hear this, there was the reason that they needed to be there apparently. And so we get upstairs, and unbeknownst to me, they had 2 of those African wild cats loose in the house, like small cougars. These things are huge, and they were loose, and they were trying to make sure that we were in a different part of the house than these cats were. Well, as we were going down the stairs, we're walking down the stairs, and this cat is sitting on the opposite side of the railing. And they had walked up with us, and they's like, oh, it's okay, just go down. And this cat reaches through the bars of the railing as we're walking downstairs. So as you're walking down, picture your head starts getting lower and lower, and you're almost eye level with this giant cat, not a cat, like a cougar cat, that ended up hissing and going at the client through the railing. And I think we all almost had a heart attack. I swear to God, we stopped our showings after that. We left. That was all we could handle. I did sell them a house afterwards, but that day was done.
Oh my God. Yeah. And again, and it's things that you just can't make that. You can't make that up. Betsy, how about yourself?
I'm listening to these stories, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it is a crazy world. But I've got a couple, but I will share one that's kind of way out there, and hopefully no one ever has to deal with something like this. But I had a personal referral from a previous realtor that I had sponsored his license. He had since quit his teaching job, and he had moved down to Mexico, a state in Mexico I will not name. And so he calls me out of the blue, says, hey, I have a referral. My brother-in-law wants to buy a property up here in San Antonio, and in one of the most affluent areas of San Antonio, in the Stone Oak area. And they want, they're looking, and they're paying cash. So they want something, real specific. So yeah, great, perfect, love to, right? So of course he tells me, they're pretty particular. This is my wife's sister's husband, and so they're going to be here in town. And I set my whole weekend up. I set the time up for them. So they show up. They were supposed to meet at an attorney's office because he even asked me to refer him an attorney to create an LLC and all this. I refer him to an attorney. He asked me to meet him there at 5:00. He doesn't show up until 11 p.m. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like, I don't know what else to do for you, but he's buying $1 million property, right? So I said, okay, I will wait. Just like the other gentleman just said, I'll do it because it looks like a big commission. So I get to the attorney's office back again when he shows up at 11. And so the attorney already had his paperwork. So I witnessed his LLC, everything. So anyhow, in the culture of the Mexican people, apparently women should not be in a leadership position. So he had a conflict with me being his realtor. So I had to bring another agent with me who was a male and, kind of help the situation out, was less experienced than I was. So we go. So he says, okay, well, tomorrow, this was Friday night, tomorrow, Saturday, meet me at La Cantera, which is open air, kind of high-end shopping center here in San Antonio. I said, okay, yeah, I've got houses. I'll meet you there. He goes, I'm going to have lunch there with my wife and meet us there. And then from there, we'll go look at homes. I said, perfect. I show up. He's sitting. I mean, this man was like dressed head to toe, Gucci, Armani. I don't know what it was, but he just smelled like money, right? And I thought, oh, wow, okay, well, I brought my agent with me. We're sitting there. His wife shows up with bags and bags of shopping bags, right, from the department stores. And he opens up his duffel bag and he hands her this huge wad of money. And I'm thinking, why is this man walking around with this much money, right? That's crazy. So none of my business, right, Betsy? Mind your own business. So I'm going to show him homes, love some homes, and he picks a home, and it's a beautiful house. They go back to Mexico. He makes me do all the inspections and be there for this and all that. So, long story short, go under contract. We get to closing. He comes into town, and they're asking him he's asking me if I would be willing to take money and put it into an account offshore because he couldn't get his money into the States. And I said, no, that's ridiculous. There's no way. I mean, this is not logical. You should have had your money wired to the title company. I don't know how he figured it out, but he did. He got his cash into the title company down in the valley in the border town. They got the money to San Antonio. I don't know how, but we got to closing. I didn't question anything. The title company didn't ask me any questions. We get to closing. He says, hey, can I park my Range Rover at your house? I don't want to leave it out until I get back to town. And I'm like, so what would you like me to do? He says, because he's driving some fancy sports cars. So he asks me to take his Land Rover to my house. I go to Walmart, get a car cover for it because I can't put it in my garage. I put a cover on it. He calls me like a month later, right? Okay, I'm in town. Can you bring me my vehicle? I take him his vehicle. Granted, I've only seen this man 3 times. A month or 2 later, on the news is this man with the guy that referred him, and they were both being extradited because they had committed this millions and millions of dollar fraud in Mexico as government officials. And I thought, OMG, that is the same guy. And I just look back and I think all the red flags now, I'm looking back, I was like, all the red flags, and I didn't get it because I was so focused on making the commission, I didn't have any implication in the situation, but I was just like, okay, when those things happen, sometimes we're so excited about the commission that we're already counting the commission that you lose sight of a lot of other things that could potentially happen. I mean, all the things that I put myself in just to make a commission. And that was probably one of the oddest things. And again, like I said, they were part of a scandal down in Mexico. They had stolen millions and millions and millions of dollars from the government. And just strange things happen. That's my story.
Excellent. See, I always like to have a little bit of fun with these, so we can we can all be serious, and then we can all, share in regards to what we've had for craziness. So I wanted to thank Cedric, Kevin, Donna, Betsy for coming up here today, and for all of you for listening in. We're all very open. If you always want to reach out to us through workplace, through social media, we're there to help each other grow, help all of you grow, and so that everybody can become an icon and share some spots on the stage. So thanks for everyone for coming today. Meg, back to you.
Thanks for having us, David. Dave, sorry.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great job. I'm going to give a round of applause virtually and in person to all of these wonderful icons. We are here every Friday for a 1-hour conversation with all of our amazing icon agents. And I hope to see you all back here again next Friday or in the following weeks. Please reach out to these icons if you have any questions. I know that they're always willing and able to answer questions via workplace chat, or find them in workplace and send them messages.